So hello, my name is Caleb and today we're gonna be talking about my favorite book series of ever. I don't really know what word we're gonna call it, but my favorite book series. This has been a very anticipated video for a very long time. A lot of people always ask me to make this video. Last week you had to deal with my bullcrap, so this week I just feel like we'll just do something that you want. I didn't mean for this to be my top 10, but as I went through my shelf and pulled out my favorites, there happened to be 10. This list comes and goes and changes all the time. If you want to try to guess the top series and what order they're gonna be in, feel free to do that. I feel like there are quite a few books on here that are gonna be like a surprise to some people, because like some of these I'm like barely ever talk about now, but they're still my favorites, so I don't know. And if you want to go in the comments and tell me that I forgot some series or like whatever, I promise you I didn't, because I literally went through shelf by shelf, book by book, and like picked them out, selected them perfectly. Your last chance to place any bets in the comments if you would like to do so. Let's do it. The number 10 slot goes to The Lunar Chronicles by, what is her name? Oh, Marissa Meyer. Oh gosh, oh no. I read this in like 2014. It's been a minute, let me tell you. I still look on this series fondly. That's also a reason why some books I really love but just aren't on this list, because I look at them and I don't think of them as fondly as I once did. For me, this series has aged very well in my book journey. Like, I still look at this as like a prime sci-fi series with awesome characters that I like actually like, because there are some series where I'm like, who are these people? I hate them all. And like this one is really good and I love all the humans in it so much. The story arcs really well with adding all these new characters as we go. Like, I feel like I would normally be like, who are all these people? But I love them all so much. I feel like I'm gonna say, I love this so much, like as if it's like not on my favorites list. Like, what? So yeah, number 10. The next book. I'm just now realizing how low this is on my list of top 10, even though I do consider this like one of my favorites. I did a lot of rearranging. This was originally in the top 5, but as I really thought about it, it kind of moved its way back down towards the back end. And that is Shatter Me. I love the Shatter Me series, if you don't know. I did make a video where I talked about books I didn't like anymore, and this was in it. But guess what, y'all? That whole video was I might not. And guess who recently just reread this first book and loved it? It was me. Realistically, I feel like this first book is a 4 stars, but because I had this like really awesome nostalgia factor with this book, I gave it like a 5 stars because I really loved it. And I recently got the hardcover. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this since like forever. I love Juliet's voice. I feel like she has like a very distinct way of like narrating a story, which I really appreciate. And it's really good, and like it's really good. Like Unravel Me is so good, even though I forgot 99% of what happened, but like I just remember it being really good. So yeah, boy. This next book was originally gonna be taken off the list. I look at the first book or two and kind of like give like a to it. The Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. It is on the favorites list because I do really like these books, and like I do look forward to them every single year, even though I'm still far behind on the series, even though like I've really tried not to be. It's a really good fantasy book and it has like really inspired my own writing. Like, I just love the way that this world is built, and I really like some of the characters. Like, I feel like I love the characters in Sarah J. Maas books, which is really important. Like, the amount of times I read a book where it's like really good but the characters are just like the worst and I like hate them all. Like, that happens far too often. And so like I really appreciate the characters in this world that has really creative storytelling and really good narratives. The beginning of this series really feels detached. It feels like you're going on a certain journey until you get to one point, and then all of a sudden it's like, haha, just kidding, everything we did before this is completely irrelevant, look at all this other stuff we're doing now. But it was still really good, so it's still on this list. The next book is one of my favorite fantasy books of all time. I'm sure we all know her, and that is the Grisha Trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I read this in like 2014. I love the characters in the story. It's like one of my favorite things ever. Like, it's such a good story too, and it's so easy to read. Like, I have reread these every single year. I love the aesthetic of them, and everybody that defends the Darkling can choke. So, moving on. The next book is one that I wanted to put higher up, but as I viewed the series as a whole, it kind of got bumped down a bit, and that's the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins. Okay, so you know her, right? I think we all know her. I feel like a few years ago, this would have been at the top of the list, followed by divergent. I feel like if Mockingjay arced better, the series would have just been better as a whole. I feel like Mockingjay was really rushed. We all know this. I personally did give Mockingjay 5 stars. It was like a great book if you like set aside the fact that it was super rushed and annoying. This is like one of the very few series that I read a very, very long time ago that I still have that same appreciation and love for, the same way as I did back when I had first read them. I read this 6 years ago. So the fact that this is still on this list is like a very miraculous thing. This one is so good. I love it so much. I just love everybody and everything that happens so much. So that's what number 6 is. For number 5, I think this series is gonna come as a surprise to many people because I feel like this is a series I rarely talk about. I feel like I've never even told anybody that I've read this and love it as much as I do. I've recently started rewatching the movies. I'm starting to realize how much I adore these and how much I brutally love them. The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. I barely ever talk about this book, like ever, but it's so phenomenal. I love this book like as a fantasy world, like as somebody who writes fantasy books. This one like has inspired me so much, especially lately. Like I've been rewatching the extended editions. Like I've never seen the actual extended editions. Like I've only seen the original of the films. I've been watching like these 4-hour movies for like the longest time, and I just can't sit down and watch a 4-hour movie. So the thing that's been happening for me is I've been watching these long movies like a series. So like I'll watch like 20-30 minutes and then stop, and then the next day or two I'll watch the next 20-30 minutes. So it's been taking me like a week and a half to watch one of these movies, but I'm loving it so much. I'm currently like halfway through The Two Towers, and I love Gollum so much. He makes me laugh so much. Like I know he's the villain and that like we shouldn't like him, but he like makes me cry laughing. This is like such a very solid fantasy world. I love the different themes and the cast of characters. I think that this is just a book that everybody should read. Like this is really like a definition of what fantasy is and can be. It has been a really long time since I've read it, but I really want to like give myself to this series because it has been so long. So yeah, Lord of the Rings is really, really good. Is that anything we didn't know in the past? I don't know, but I love them so much. So let's move on. I think that the next 4 books are gonna be the most predictable books ever. I'm positive you can guess number 1, number 2, and number 3. And number 4 is one of the very few series I talk about all the time, still talk about all the time. Do we know her? A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And listen, okay, ACOWAR wasn't the best. It was easily like a 4-star book. I give ACOMAF like a 6 out of 5 stars. So that extra star can go towards ACOWAR and just even out the series to be all 5 stars. ACOWAR had some pacing issues. I mind, but like not really because I love the characters anyway, and I was still having a great time while reading those boring chunks. Like I think I mentioned the boring chunks and people kind of get the wrong idea, but like I love those boring chunks because I love the humans and the people in there. So yeah, I love these all so much, and I don't think it's a surprise to anybody, so yeah, that's it. We've made it to the top 3. I'm like getting to the point now where I'm like, we can just stop the video because we all know who these are gonna be. Let's do it anyway! Number 3 on our list of favorite series of all time. Unsurprisingly, The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. Look at it! So good. I love these books so much. I love this series so much, and everybody says the first 2 books were really bad, but those are like 5 stars to me, so like, I feel like there's nothing else for me to say besides the fact that I love them. And a lot of people don't love them, and I get it. But like, I do. And don't you dare go in the comments and be like, but Cassie plagiarized? Because I can already say that you probably saw some random stan account that just hates on the books just because it isn't the TV show, and you're just like guessing that by now. But if you've actually read the lawsuit, you know that it's all bullcrap, so we love a good tea with receipts, can I get the Hoya? And also, everybody's always like, she just stole from this series and from this author, but there are no receipts. There are never any receipts. Like, that's like being like, oh, I bought this, but like, where? How? Where did you get it? Oh, you don't remember where you got it? Somebody else got it for you? Oh, where'd they get it? You don't even know where you got that couch from. You don't have receipts. And yeah, somebody else gave you the couch, but where did they get it? They got it from somebody else. And where did that person get? I don't know. Where are these people getting this tea? Where are they getting the receipt? They don't have the receipts. Can't return the item without the receipts, so I just love them so much, and Shadowhunters TV show is trash. Let's move on. The last 2 books are the most predictable things ever. The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. We all knew this was happening. I can't just ignore the fact that this series is easily the best thing that's happened in the booktube world for the last 10 years. So let me just say, the second that Will Herondale, Tessa, or Jem shows up in Shadowhunters, the TV show, we march to the Capitol at dawn. Alright, number 1. What is Caleb's number 1 series of all time? And I actually debated not even including doing this just because I hate being a basic booktuber, but like I can't just not, you know? Not that I'm gonna lie either. Just I don't want to be a basic booktuber who just gonna like say the same 3 books every single video, but like I do that anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I'm sure that it's not even a doubt in your mind, and you don't even know why I'm monologuing right now because you're just gonna skip 10 seconds ahead so you can see me hold it up. Who's surprised? I just have to say, just kidding, who do you think I am? Harry Potter! Although, I will say this, I'll be very candid for 0.3 seconds. For like the longest time, the only movies I would watch, like whenever I was bored, or like, you ever have those nights where you're like, I just want to curl up in all my blankies and watch a movie? My go-to was always Harry Potter. For like the past like 50 years, I've just watched those movies all the time, and I've gotten to the point where I've been so anxious because I'll like turn on like Goblet of Fire or something and I'll be like, I'm kind of bored. And it's only because I've seen them so many times that I'm just like at this point needing to like stop. I go through withdrawals where I'll be like, I don't really want to watch these movies right now. I don't really want to read these books right now. I started rereading the books and I always stop once we get to the bigger books because I like get partially through and then I'm like, it's really long and I'm terrified. So like I'm on Order of the Phoenix right now, and by on Order of the Phoenix I mean I read the first chapter and then was like, I don't know if I can read the next 800 pages of this book without like wanting to be dead. There's literally nothing else for me to say without like being like a basic booktuber, so we're just gonna continue. And by continue I mean we already done with the video. So these are all my favorite series of all time. I recommend all of these if you wanted to know. And also, if there's a series that you think was supposed to be on this list that I forgot about, I didn't forget about it. It's just not one of my favorites, so hey! It's okay. Daddy's got you. Why? Let's find a really, really sucky book and hold it up. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Why do I got the Me song stuck in my head? Retweet if you inspired.